Just yesterday, we saw the US eShop put a bunch of stellar titles on big sales. They took the SteamWorld games, the Messenger, Drinkbox Studios games, and said, hey, have them for real cheap. And there were so many insta-buys that we were very impressed. But then here comes Europe, deciding to 1-up or 10-up the US eShop by offering the huge Go Digital sale, which has over 130 games. It includes all the ones that we covered yesterday as part of the US sale, but now this Europe exclusive sale, for now, is boasting a bunch of awesome experiences.
Zach, I always like when we can bring our European viewership some sales like this, because more often than not, most of the time when we cover sales, it's all US based. And yes, when we have a chance to get in on some sales for across the pond, I'm always happy to do it.
Well, breaking news, Gabe, it's a small world, because wherever you are, you can create an account in a different country and take advantage of these sales. You may have to go and grab eShop points from a different region, which can be a bit time consuming, but the new account process is very simple, so anyone out there, these sales are for you, technically. But we're going to highlight 5 of our favorites. Each will alternate. Like I said, there's over 130 games, and it does include the Guacamele's and the Steam Worlds and the Messengers that we mentioned yesterday, but this one, it has quality across the entire list.
Yeah. Zach, I'm going to hijack this, and I'm going to go first. Okay, there's nothing you can do to stop me. Super Meat Boy Forever got pushed back a little, but we were hoping that we would have been playing that game by now at some point. The original Super Meat Boy can be purchased, Zach, for €909, 839 pounds, and that sale runs up to Thursday, the 23rd of May. It is a pretty good discount for a super fun game. You've probably heard about Super Meat Boy. You've probably played Super Meat Boy because it's been on every other platform in the world ever. So, what do you think about Super Meat Boy, Zach? This is a good one to maybe play if you thought Forever looked really fun and you've never experienced it. And maybe even if you have experienced it, just get a little refresher over here on Switch.
Yeah, they're very different experiences, but I contest that Forever is still a ton of fun. I played it at PAX East, and I'm super pumped for it. And whether you're vegan or not, you can enjoy this meaty experience. I love the original. I think it's totally worth having on Switch, even if you played the original, and you're right, because Forever is now pushed to an unspecified, hopefully soon date, this one looks a lot more delicious. Now, almost all of these games are running through the 23rd. There's one exception, which Gabe will get to later, but just wanted to point that out. My first pick is Windjammers, which is a blast from the past, a very classic, awesome one-on-one sports disc experience. So if you've played Disc Jam, this is similar, but this is kind of like the OG. It's 50% off, down to €749 and 674 pounds. It's awesome. Me and my childhood best friend Jono played this game extensively when we were younger, before it was cool, before Giant Bomb made it cool. Windjammers was my jam. Windjammers 2 is coming out soon, so you can get in on the original action, and it's just, it's fun, it's colorful, the characters are great, and it just retains that like traditional arcadey Switch eShop battle-rific local multiplayer that I really, really enjoy.
Where do you think Jono is right now?
I mean, I know where he is. He's at work in Michigan.
Wait, you still speak with him?
Of course. He has two kids.
That's him. Okay. I didn't know that was him. All right, cool. All right, now I'm gonna move us on to a different game.
I also want to point out that Windjammers does have online now.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for interrupting my Owl Boy announcement, Zach, because that is the second game I'm gonna mention. It is down to €1379, 1139 pounds. And you mentioned that these are all the 23rd. Now I'm not going to say the dates anymore until that one game. And 40% off. That's a really, really good deal for a really, really good game. Zach, I think that you would like this, because it's a awesome, like, story-driven platforming adventure. You can fly around as this little owl. You have all these friends. You have very amazing art. The music in this game is fantastic. The boss battles are kind of cool as well. Man, did you know that this game was 10 years in the making, by the way? There's huge dungeons.
I did not know. It does remind me of Katana Zero in that way, in that it had a long gestation period. I played a little bit of it. I haven't played as much as you. The Owl Man is a little creepy, but if you can get past that, it definitely is a fun time.
Yeah, and it's longer than you would expect for a pixel game like this. The story's like awesome. Yeah, I 100% stand by Owl Boy, especially for this discounted price.
I'm gonna roll us way back to the OG days of Switch, before such games like Dead Cells and Enter the Gungeon were a part of the platform. Goner was one of my first roguelite loves on the system. It's brought to you by Raw Fury, and it's 70% off as a part of this sale, down to €2.99 in euros and £2.69 in pounds. You really can't go wrong at that price point, and it's a lot of fun. It has a very creepy, just like horror, but also fantasy-based art style, hand-drawn but sloppy, and I mean that in the best way possible because it gives it its very own tone and vibe. It is a side-scroller. It is difficult, very rewarding when you progress. It's one of those games where a little bit of progress feels like a mile because it was challenging, and that's going to be kind of a part of some more games on my list that challenge. I like this one at that price point. If you missed it early on, if you grabbed the Switch beyond its launch window, you probably have not seen this game just because there's been so many eShop releases. I feel like those early digital games kind of get overlooked, and Gore is one that at this price, it's totally worth an insta-buy for me, and you'll definitely have a few hours of fun with.
Yeah, I agree with you, and when it's that cheap, yeah, insta-buy, impulse buy, whatever we want to call it, it's a no-brainer. Speaking of brains, Resident Evil Revelations, Zach, down 40% to 11.
What a transition.
To €11.99, £9.59. Another good sale for this game. It goes on sale every once in a while, Zach. This was originally a 3DS game. I don't know if you remember that way back in the day.
I played it.
Yeah, but it's an awesome, I want to say traditional Resident Evil experience, although it's like not super traditional, but the sequel is
in between.
Yeah, it's an in-betweener because it's not like super action, but it's also not like super horror. But the sequel is also on sale. That one does co-op in such a phenomenal way. It has some amazing modes also. So yes, Resident Evil Revelations. There is a lot of Resident Evil coming to Switch very soon, Zach. I'm particularly excited for Resident Evil 4. In the meantime, if you want to do some stuff to some brains, like I mentioned, Resident Evil, man, jump on.
Yes, indeed. And it's a lot less than the new Resident Evils will be. Okay. I'm going to take us to another challenging experience, Mega Man X Legacy Collection number 1. I like the X Legacy Collection number 1. It has some of my favorite Mega Man games. It is 30% off, down to €13.99, $11.19 in pounds. This game goes on sale often, but it still should not be overlooked because that's a great value for a whole bunch of games. I feel like it's a perfect package for Switch. They're so great on the go. They're bite-sized in just the right way. And if you enjoyed Mega Man 11, or if you've ever enjoyed Mega Man, or even if you haven't, like this is again like one of those, I feel like it's not going to rank up there obviously with Celeste or Mario Odyssey, but to me it feels like it is like a very easy, you got to have this as a part of your Switch library type games.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic for me, right? So it automatically gains some brownie points with me as well. If you played it growing up, grab it on Switch. They are good on the platform. And you mentioned my 4th game, Zach. How dare you? Celeste, 33% off until May the 14th. That is the only date that was going to be different than the other ones that we mentioned. From $17.99 down to £12.05. Zach, it's not often that the best game on Switch goes on sale.
I mean, Smash Bros. Goes on sale quite often.
Well, in my opinion, Celeste is the best game. Amazing story. Yes, it's like pixel side-scrolling, but the gameplay is...
It's amazing.
It's so pixel perfect in every single way, and it will teach you something about yourself. If you are struggling in life at all, play Celeste. That'll make you feel better.
Gabe, you're very punny today. And I'm going to tumble into my next title, Tumble Seed, which, again, a blast from the past. This is a game that originated back in the original days of Switch, and it's very difficult. It's so difficult that I think it was off-putting to most players, but it's 50% off, down to €6.99, £5.99, and at that price, and given the updates, you gotta give it a go. It's very unique. You are moving these little seeds across a bridge, a platform, and you control the platform with the triggers. It utilizes the Switch in a very unique way. It's incredibly difficult, and they've updated it in ways that I think most original buyers didn't see. They either loved the game so much and got really hardcore into it, or I think a lot of people bounced off because it was too difficult, quirky, and fun, but just too challenging. Well, they added a whole bunch to the game, a bunch of new modes. They added multiplayer, they added new power-ups, new persistent gains. It's now in a different state, and at this price point, it's really worth checking out. It's made by AEIO-Woo, which I think is one of the most fantastic names for a company out there, and that's who brought it to the Switch. And it's one of those experiences that feels like this is a Switch-only experience. I've talked about that before. There are certain games that I play on the Switch. I'm like, this is just a tried and true, born and bred Switch experience. Tumble Seed is one of those. You probably have never heard of it. I think you got to get it at this price point.
Yeah, it is a fun one. I was one of those people that it was a little too difficult for. I didn't like the gameplay of it, and I checked out. But Zach, you keep talking about these games that came out early in the Switch's life cycle. I want to talk about a game that was announced early in the Switch's life cycle and then didn't come out for quite some time. Pocket Rumbles, guys, it is on sale. The famed game, down 30% to €6.99, £4.89. Man, Zach, what can we say about Pocket Rumble? It has online modes. I don't know how the player base and the community is there, but it is a simplistic fighter. Fighting games are represented quite well on Nintendo Switch, but 2 buttons. You have jump and you have hit. You have very simple combos that you can work out with, but this is one of those games that's awesome with single Joy-Con just because, again, the controls are so simplistic. It's a fun one. It took a while to come to Switch, but once it did finally come to Switch, it was a nice little fun experience. For me, it's more of a diversion, and for this price, a diversion is kind of warranted because it's not super expensive. You can still have some fun with some friends.
Yeah, I would say that there's more here than you might initially think. When you hear 2-button fighter, simplistic fighter, it's like, But honestly, like Gabe mentioned, there are combos. You can really get into a character. You can develop strategy, and it does become a fast, but very fun and skill-based fighter. So I think this is a great pick, Gabe. I applaud you for choosing this one. Chucklefish, as we know, does great work, even if it takes them a little bit of extra time. All right, I'm going to wrap up with Abzu, a game that is 30% off, down to €13.99. £10.49. This is in the vein of Journey, Flower. Remember when those games were the hit? Experiential games with beautiful art and just take you on a trip. And Abzu takes you on a trip under the sea. There are no mermaids as far as I'm aware, but it is very enjoyable. It's relaxing. It's pretty. It's just it's very different. And if you're someone who just likes fast pace, you need a quick go injection of fun at every turn, maybe it's not for you. But if you can be patient with it a bit, I feel it's rewarding. And while challenge is not a part of this experience, I do find it to be one that I'm glad I had. I played it in its entirety back on PlayStation 4. I think it's really cool to take it on the go with you on Switch. And it's just unique in a day and age where everything is looter shooter. Something completely opposite. It's not pixel-based, guys. It's not looter shooter. It's not roguelike. It's totally different and worth your time. I like it at 30% off, and I think it will be an eclectic addition to your Switch.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I've played Abzu. I like Abzu. Get Abzu.
Good golly, Miss Molly. There are a bunch more games. So many more. And as we mentioned, the ones from the US side, SteamWorld and Messenger and Guacamelee, those are all still there. You got stuff like Limbo and Trine, Ollie Ollie, Bridge Constructor, Portal, Defense Grid 2, lots of good games, so get after it. If you don't have an European account, you can make one. Let us know in the comments down below which games you're targeting as a part of this sale. You got about 2 weeks to get it done, unless you're looking for Celeste, then you only have a couple of days. But give us your take in the comments down below, everybody. Shout out to our European fans over there. We love you a lot, and apparently so does Nintendo as they push all of these awesome eShop deals around the globe. Until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Myself and Gabe have a fantastic day. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and are pumped for sales almost every week. It's pretty great. We love you a lot. SwitchForce out.